Welcome you all to this fourth lecture related to the 12th week while discussing several aspects of history of Arabic literature. Should we talk or interact in this lecture in Arabic؟ ما رأيكم في أن نتحدث قليلا يعني باللغة العربية في هذه المحاضرة؟ أتمنى أن لا يكون هذا يعني مشكلا بالنسبة لكم. على كل أتحدث قليلا بالعربية ثم أعود إلى الإنجليزية. في غضون كل المحاضرات آه، التي رأيناها في الأسابيع الماضية، كل هذه المعالجات لقضايا الفكر واللغة المرتبطة بتاريخ آداب اللغة العربية، رأينا أنه في الحقيقة تراث هام للإنسانية، وإن كان هذا التراث يؤرخ في سياق التاريخي والجغرافي للشعوب العربية، للشعوب التي كانت عربية أو التي استعربت أو اعتربت في مختلف مراحل التاريخ لأسباب كثيرة، دينية وسياسية واجتماعية واقتصادية وفكرية وغيرها. فنجد أن هذا التراث يمثل كما هائلا من الجغرافيا وفترات هائلة من التاريخ، وفعلا ملايين من المجلدات، في الحقيقة ملايين من المجلدات إذا ما قسنا الأمور بمعايير ومقاييس مختلفة، يعني في سياق المخطوط والمطبوع، فالمخطوطات آلاف في آلاف والمطبوعات آلاف في آلاف، يعني حيث في الحقيقة لا يمكننا أن 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 تكون لنا فكرة تحديدية كمية في هذا السياق للأدبيات العربية التي تم إنتاجها في مختلف مراحل التاريخ، بداية من العصر الجاهلي ثم الإسلامي ثم الأموي ثم العباسي ثم العثماني، وهكذا دواليك حتى إلى زمننا هذا في سياق الحداثة وما بعد الحداثة وبعد ما بعد الحداثة، والمنظومات الرؤيوية الكثيرة المتفاقمة فعلا أفقا وعمودا كما يقولون، والتي تكثف لنا هذا المشهد الأدبي والإنتاج العلمي في اللغة العربية. فإن هذا التاريخ لجدير بأن نفتقر به. ثم في سياق آخر هو سياق كون اللغة العربية من اللغات الرسمية للأمم المتحدة، فهذه أيضا ميزة من المزايا التي تتميز بها اللغة العربية، وقلة قليلة من اللغات الإنجليزية والفرنسية مثلا، ويعني بعض اللغات الأخرى تندرج ضمن هذه القائمة. فهذا في الحقيقة تراث نفتخر به. في هذا المحاضرة نتحدث قليلا عن السياق البنيوي وما بعد البنيوي، السياق البنيوي وما بعد البنيوي، يعني فلسفة البنيوية وفلسفة ما بعد البنيوية في سياقات اللغة والنقد، على أننا في الحقيقة رأينا أوجها من هذه المقاربات في المحاضرات السالفة. فعندما نقول البنيوية، فالكلمة التي نجدها باللغات الأوروبية وفي سياقنا هذا السياق الإنجليزي. الإنجليزي هو structuralism. So what is structuralism? It's structuralism among the uh, very significant phases of theorizing on in the domain of language and literature. Structuralism. Structuralism, with the word that is structure. What is the structure? It is the base. It is the basic framework on which we'll be finding any edifice, any construction. So the basic framework is the structure. Now structure or structures are not always related to the physical entities. Rather, we'll be having the structure of an idea, a structure of language, a structure of culture, means the primary components, the design, the scheme which has been projected, which has been taken into account, codified, and then put forth for consideration to the society and to the future generations with a plethora of enterprises, literary, etc. So, language too has its structure. The study of language according to this structure, in line with the specific concepts, specific notions, hypotheses, methodological preferences, is known as structuralism. So it studies language. البنيوية من البناء وكذلك البنيوية من البنى. فالبنيوية أو البنيوية كلاهما صحيح. لكل شيء كيان. يعني مثلا هناك مبنى، فللمبنى هناك كيان، أو بنية تحتية، هناك بنية تحتية، هناك كيان، هيكل للأشياء، الأشياء المادية الخارجية المحسوسة أساسا. ولكن هذا الهيكل أو هذه الهيكلية، هذا الكيان، هذه البنية وجمع ذلك البنى لا تقتصر على المحسوسات. فحتى هناك يعني الأشياء، الكائن المادي لا، إنه يمتد، إن هذا الشيء يمتد إلى المعاني أيضا، إلى المدخر الإنساني، التراث الإنساني اللامادي. فتراث الإنسان أو التراث الإنساني أو تراث الإنسانية نوعان، نوع مادي ونوع لا مادي غير مادي. فالقيم مثلا غير مادي لا مادي. فحتى لغير المادية، التراث غير المادي أو اللامادي، هناك كيان، هناك منظومة، هناك هيكل، هناك بنية. So even the non-material things, non-living things, means biologically, which are biologically defined as a structure, they have their structures. So humans have their structure, just as the buildings, the forts, the universities, the colleges, anything like that. A machine has its structure, whether it is a big machine or a small machine. Likewise, language has its structure. So what are the component parts? What are the components of the constituting parts of language? The first first part is phonetics, because this is the primary aspect. The first thing that comes out to form the corpus of language, the structure of language that contributes towards structuring of process of structuring of language, is the phonetics, صوتيات. الأصوات. لماذا؟ لأن اللغة أصلا هي الأصوات. يعني في المرحلة الأولى اللغة هي الأصوات المنتظمة التي تدل، التي تحمل دلالات. Language is actually phonetics, voices, systematic voices having meanings, which has which can be communicated. If the meanings are to be communicated, they accept that they are they they can be they are communicable. Then they are this is governed under this domain of the phonetics. So the voice aspects of language, study of the voice aspects of language. Any word, any phrase, any letter, just start with the letter. Rather, in linguistic terms, start with the phoneme or pheme, with the smallest unit. Uh, the acoustics, the sound vibrations, very small sound unit. Take these things. When we'll be taking all these things, systematizing them, relating them to the meanings, then what comes to us is language. So this is the primary, the very first component, phonetics. So language has the phonetic structure. The point is that language has phonetic structure. The second thing is that when this phonetic structure is of language is codified, is standardized, we'll be having some variations, sound variations. Sometimes very slight, sometimes a little bit more prominent. Like kataba. If you add alif over here, it will be kataba. So stress is there. Some emphasis. Kataba. Kataba plus waw alif. It is katabu. Kataba plus ta, you. Katabta. Kataba plus I, me, myself. Katabtu, plural. Katabna. So these are very small variations. Sometimes the variations are big. Yeah. Well, the thing is that this type of variation is governed by morphology. علم التصريف, uh, where the root is there, we only conjugate. We don't add something in the root. Rather, the form we're having will be just adding something like wow and alif and other examples, which are studied in morphology في علم التصريف. يعني فنحن في الحقيقة لم نزد شيئا، يعني لم نضيف شيء في مادة هذه الكلمة. المادة كاف تاء باء كتب، من هنا كتب، لم نضيف شيء، فقط يعني صرفنا. كتب كتبا كتبوا كتبت كتبتا كتبنا كتبت كتبتما كتبتم، وهكذا دوالي. أما إذا ما يعني استكتب مثلا، قلت استكتب، فيعني حولناه إلى الاستفعال، باب الاستفعال، معنى ذلك أننا أضفنا شيء في أصل هذه الكلمة. حتى المادة في هذا السياق يعني نفسها، المادة لم تختلف، هناك زيادات في هذه البنية الأساسية. هذا أيضا يندرج ضمن علم التصريف، حيث أنك صرفت مادة من باب إلى باب آخر. أما في المرحلة الأولى فرأينا أننا لم نقم بأي إضافة في البنية للكلمة، البنية، ولكن هذا الشكل الصرفي، قالب التصريف، يعني هذا هو الأهم. مغزى القول أن للغة بنية صرفية. Language has a morphological aspect, and the things are related to the syntactics, semantics, semiotics, etc. These are some of the ideas. These are the ideas we have already dealt with. So we'll be just summing up the things. Well, Now the discourse of language, how to how to how to uh, how to see language, how to interpret language, and of course literature. So uh, in this sequence, we'll be finding that there have been several paradigms, several traditions, several ways, several methods. The earliest method was very much uh, dictated. It was very much dictated by the religious discourse. So it was simply based on some authority. The authority informed us that language is so and so. This is language. This was revealed by God. This sound is also created by God. We are created by God. So here you have nothing. You have nothing except to have this knowledge which is given to you by the way of authority. So in the sequence of language, it will be told, as we'll be finding in history books, that especially in regard to the languages that have a sacred legacy. And of course, more or less all the languages of the world do have the sacred legacy, whether it is Christianity in relation to classical languages, the Syriac language, the Hebrew language, the earliest recipients of or bearers of these revelations related to Christianity. الأناجيل. يعني جميع اللغات في العالم تشتمل على مقدسات، لها مقدسات. المقدس لا يقتصر بالإسلام دون غيره. ففي المسيحية هناك مقدسات، كتب مقدسة، مثل ما نجد الكتب المقدسة في ال لدى اليهود في اليهودية. فهناك التوراة في سياق العبرية. So in Judaism will be having Torah. And coming to the Indian subcontinent, here it is Sanskrit, the Vedic, the language of the Vedas, the Upanishads. In the Old Persian will be having Zend-Avesta. And also in case of some modern languages, as we'll be having the Sikhism, etc. So all the languages of the world to have their sacred legacy. So uh, in the Middle Ages, there was a school that simply projected language and anything related to language as part of the that legacy in in accordance to conjunctions of this or that legacy. Hence, in Arabic, it was said that, well, it is the language of the Quran, simply. Of course, this is the language of the Quran. But simply sufficing by saying that this is the language of the Quran, this is not linguistic discourse. It is a fact representing one aspect, one domain of theology of our society related to a specific domain of beliefs, thoughts, dogmas, and the religious practices, liturgy, etc. But this is not the sum total of the things. So language has to be studied in accordance to these parameters and beyond: the phonetic parameter, the morphological parameter, the syntactic parameter, semantic parameter, semiotic parameter. Semiotics being the latest. So, study of language in accordance to these parameters. How did it start all about? In the modern known history, the first great figure we'll be having is the Russian structuralist Ferdinand de Saussure. 1950, 1857 to 1913. In his a very well-known, celebrated book that is Cours de linguistique générale, that is Introduction to, or something like that, General Linguistics, a guide to general linguistics, Introduction to General Linguistics. He was the first person to have given, to have seen language in these perspectives, in perspectives of phonetics, morphology, syntactics, semantics, an early stage of semiotic. That is in the pragmatic way, as it is related in relation to the society. Society with its beliefs, cultures, dogmas, preferences, and the tendency to coin words, to modify words, to adapt to words, to adopt words, and embark upon a journey of discovering things, making things, adjusting things. Because literature, language and literature is not something dictated. It's pragmatic. It keeps changing, adapting, adopting, assimilating, getting assimilated, etc. So was the very first figure in this as regards the concept of primary concept of structuralism. We have other Russian structuralist. He was the foremost name in the Russian structuralist scene. But since he moved to Europe, therefore he had yielded, he had exercised tremendously, greatly on a large number of the theorists, literary theorists, generation in West. Well, there are many things which could be seen in this sequence. That is, what the sorcerer says is that we have the concept, humans have the concept, we have concepts in our mind. Concept regarding what? Regarding primarily anything that exists outside our mind. Because in ultimate analysis, we'll be finding that our five senses, our senses, sensory organs, while coming in contact with the external reality, there we'll find an image in our mind. And then we conceptualize. This reflection creates a meaning, and this meaning then turns into an image. This image actually is a replica of, it's a replica of the external reality. Like if we say the teacher is delivering lecture, and then close your eyes. Suppose you are seeing the teacher who is speaking to you. So you can see this scene. Then if you just close your eyes, then you can imagine it. You can see it by the eyes of your heart. Suppose the teacher is not before you. He has gone. He has left the class. But again, you are having this image. Now, what's important from the language point of view, linguistic point of view, is that when someone says the teacher is coming, the lecture was so and so, you are actually having the image of a teacher who is coming, how he is coming. So, walking or riding a car or just hurrying around or the way he comes. So this is reflected in an image. You'll be finding an image. That was primarily the basis of the semiotic aspect of language, semiotic studies. This leads to the semiotic, the matter, the interface, and mind. So first it is the matter, the external reality, then the object, which is over there, a unit. Then your awareness in mind, our awareness in mind, how the mind comes into contact with this and has the this image, creation of this image or different aspects of image. Then related to this is the primary concept of dalala. Dalala. That's why it is rightly said that he was the founder of ilm dalalat in the modern, in the postmodern perspectives. Although dalalat in Arab sequences, historical sequences, this dalala concept is prevalent in in a plethora of disciplines. You have the dalala in the domain of the textual study of religious text, especially in the domain of fiqh, tafsir, usul tafsir. So while dealing with usul fiqh, usul tafsir, usul hadith, etc., chiefly usul fiqh, it is the dalala, عبارة النص, إشارة النص, دلالة النص, اقتضاء النص, things like that. So these are very well known disciplines. There's something well known if we talk in regard to our legacy in past. The Saucer model focused on the concept of the signified and the signifier. So the signified was concept and the sound image was the signifier. The sound image we are having, it is the signifier. Adal, this is adal, and this is al madlul, and this episode, this story is, it's all about dalala. So then you have this mind that creates, that gives you, that is associated with the emergence of language, human mind and culture. First it is the meaning, then of course words, language, human mind. And when human mind is found in society, in a specific geographical space and phase of history, then it embodies culture. It results in the formation of culture. The second very foremost name is that of Peirce, Charles Sanders Peirce, 1839 to 1915. His Reasoning and the Logic of Things. This book had played a very role uh, in the things and how our mind interact with the things and enters into, embarks upon the phase of reasoning, because formation of images, formation of meanings must be followed by a systematic approach. There is systematic mechanism, so that why, so that the meanings are valid. If it is simply something like cacophony, chaos, it would be futile, it would be simply sort of a mess. But the meanings we have in our mind, they are not mess, they are not messy, they are well reasoned, well structured. What is the source of this reasoning and structuring? This organization, when things are organized, ideas are organized, thoughts are organized. What's the primary factor? How this comes? This comes through logic. This comes through the reasoning. So first you are having the images, then the scattered meanings. But then comes the third very significant phase of how to organize the thing. Then infer the right essence. So reasoning and the logic of things, Peirce had deliberated upon. In the sequence, this book happens to be very significant. In the semiotic sequences of the Saucer and Peirce, there are other things which are usually talked about. Uh, Associated with this is the concept of new criticism, formalism. Formalism, the new criticism put forward by John Crow, Ransom, I.J. Richards, T.S. Eliot, etc., all giving impetus to this newly emerged paradigm of the study of language. T.S. Eliot, 1965, I.J. Richards, his Meaning of Meaning and Principles of Literary Criticism, very well known books in the domains of language, study of language. Meaning of Meaning. It was among the foremost books dealing with this topic, that is meaning of meanings. When we say meaning, what does it we actually mean? What is the meaning of meaning? The prime, the essence, the process it underlies, the steps our mind takes towards forming the meanings, the essence of the presence of the organizational factors in the very process of creation of meanings, the argumentative aspects, because as we have seen, when there is a sentence, so even the morphological aspect is governed by logic, governed by argument. Why? The example is that in case the language is gender sensitive, and of course majority of the languages are gender sensitive, and Arabic, I think, it tops the list. So we have the concept of muzakkar and muannas, masculine and feminine, wahid, tasniya and jama, and that is singular and dual and plural. Then gender, then neuter gender, but again this is not applicable. If there's nothing like neuter gender, the word happens to be either muzakkar or muannas, irrespective of the biological essence or biological factor. So it's not like it, he, she, or it. It doesn't exist in Arabic. So I mean, in this case of the gender correspondence. So if there is a wahid, then we'll be saying dhahaba, for example. If it is tasniya, we'll be saying dhahaba. Now, what is logic over here? That organize that thing. Since we know that there are two players, two persons who are coming, two persons are there to participate in this act, then for two persons we should be conjugating in a way that is different from the case where the comer, where the person will be doing this act, would be one, and so on in regard to masculine and feminine, etc. So this morphological difference is governed by reason. This one aspect. The another aspect is that the first word is related to the second word. It is actually the first word that determines the second word. And as I had given some examples in past, like in past lectures, like if you say I was thirsty, that's why I didn't take water. So you'll be saying, sir, this is wrong, because if you are thirsty, you'll be taking water. The first sentence actually leads to the second sentence in terms of argument. As part of the argumentative theory. So I.A. Richards, associated with this is Jacques Derrida's deconstruction theory in a number of his books. That is of grammatology. Noam Chomsky, as regards the semiotics and semiotic challenge. Umberto Eco, the theory of semiotics. Ihab Hassan, the great Egyptian theorist, postmodern literary figure, Ihab Hassan, with many, many works. like the dismemberment for Orpheus in Quest of Nothing, alongside many Arab figures like المسدي قضية البنيوية دراسة ونماذج، جابر عصفور عصر البنيوية، جون بياجيه البنيوية ترجمة عارف منيمنة عن بشير أوبري، سامر إبراهيم محمد المصاربة، البنيوية بين النشأة والتأسيس دراسة نظرية، أسس البنيوية ترانسليشن، دليل تمهيدي إلى ما بعد البنيوية وما بعد الأحداثية، الأنثروبولوجيا البنيوية، البنيوية وما بعدها النشأة والتقبل، البنيوية وما بعدها تفكيك الأنساق وبناء المعنى الجديد، عبد الله الغزامي الخطيئة والتكفير من البنيوية إلى التشريحية النظرية وتطبيق ما فوق البنيوية، البنيوية وما بعد البنيوية في الفكر السياسي الفرنسي المعاصر، البنيوية في الأدب، بالإضافة إلى الكثير من المؤلفات التي بإمكاننا أن نراها هي متوفرة. فهذا المشهد كما رأينا، هذا المشهد العالمي لا نجد اللغة العربية أو العربي في سياق نجد أن اللغة العربية أيضا مرتبطة، الأدب العربي أيضا مرتبط بهذا المشهد العالمي. ومن هنا أتوقف وأنهي هذه المحاضرة. بارك الله فيكم. With this we conclude this lecture. Thank you very much.